Live from our home studios across North America. Please welcome the hosts of DevCentral Connects Top 5, Aubrey, Boo, Jason, and me. I'm Peter. Welcome to DevCentral's Top 5. It's the fourth Tuesday of the month, and that means we count down our favorite pieces of content over the last month. If you're new to the channel, we talk pretty much everything internet related, application delivery, application security, and we even discuss things like watermelon, which we just might do today. Now, not only do we broadcast live every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, we pretty much post amazing content, daily contributions from our technical engineers out in the field, showing you exactly how to accomplish a whole bunch of cool stuff deploying applications. So hit that subscribe, hit that like. If you're new to the channel, why don't I bring on the fellas as we go around the horn? Let's do that take again. Why don't we bring on the fellas as we go around the horn? I don't know where.
Hey, buddy.
There they are. Oh, you know what? I got two Pasilvas going on. Let me mute this over there. I'm like distracting myself with myself. So you might notice, ladies and gentlemen, that I have this sling on. I had busted my elbow a couple weeks ago, actually the week before Black Hat, which is why I had a brace on during Black Hat. And so as the story goes, so I turned 56 in July. And I was quite proud of the fact that I had never broken a bone or, had major surgery for a life-threatening situation, bad accident, falling out of a tree, whatever. And I had been, I dare say, bragging about the fact that I hadn't busted anything. And I never was one of those kids in grade school who had, people signing their cast and stuff. I remember that as a kid, big time. Oh, I always wanted a broken arm to get my cast signed. But anyway, so after bragging about it, I was thinking more that I was showing gratitude toward the universe, but the universe took it as a bit of, kind of being bold about stuff and not being humble. And so, within 3 weeks, the universe humbled me. So the topic today, as we go around with our co-hosts, has there been a time where you either shot your mouth off or were bragging about something, or just kind of maybe went a little bit overboard and it ended up coming back and biting you in the rear? How about you, Aubrey? Since you're right to my that way. There we go.
Side, yeah. Boy, nothing comes to mind right now. Actually, I'm trying to think of where I would have really shot myself in the foot. But well,
that's good then. If
I try not to do that, so
I should have known better, because I believe in all that. Putting it out in the universe and having it come back. Not so much there's karma, but definitely about even putting good intentions out and having the good flow back in. So I should have known better.
No, when you mention karma, actually, it does make me think of a time when I was much younger, and I thought, sure, it'd be a great idea for us to help out my wife's friend who had no place to live for a few weeks, which turned into a few months. So that was not my best idea. I guess that's the one thing that comes to mind right now. I was trying to be good and get that good karma, but wow, it was just a disaster for us.
The couch and the fridge suffered, eh?
Oh yeah. Radishes and butter. That's all I got to say. Like, I would come home and this woman would be eating like radishes with a tub of country crock, and we get grease all over our stuff. I'm sorry, I got to stop. Nice. I had grease all over my stuff. That's just no.
I know, especially some of them comic books. You don't even want anybody's breath on those contained pieces right there. Yeah, there you go.
Leave them alone.
What about you, Jason?
More times than I can count. In fact, there's so many I couldn't even. We probably, I just need to lay on the couch, and you can be my therapist, and we can talk it all through. But the first one that comes to mind, when I lived in Italy. My dad was military, and so we lived at Camp Darby, which is right outside Livorno, Italy. And I was in second grade, and there was this fourth grader I really didn't like very much, and I started talking trash, and he beat the absolute snot out of me, and I totally deserved it. And yeah, that was probably my last fight. I mean, I had some skirmishes, in junior high, but nothing that came to fisticuffs. Learned my lesson pretty early on that.
Next month on Top 5, Jason's
top 5 therapy needs.
Hopefully we all learn. Well, it sounds like, that maybe, kind of gave you a hint that maybe not the best thing to do. How about you, Boo?
Well, I don't even know if I want to put it out there in the world, but I will just because you've asked. But I am also somebody who has not broken a bone or even had stitches, gone in for surgery or anything like that.
Wow.
And I feel sick even saying this out loud right now. Anyways, we were talking about how you had put this out in the world and gotten yourself a broken elbow. And so sure enough, just this past weekend here at my in-laws, walking down the stairs, I missed the last step and then landed straight on this on this wrist. And this has been sore for the last couple of days. I'm sure if I was 10 years younger, it wouldn't be sore. However, I am not looking forward to the day where a fall like that is actually going to do some real damage to it. So that's all I'm going to say about that, though. I don't want to put out any more of this energy out there.
And I've had stitches so many times. My mom was actually questioned for child abuse about the 15th time I went to the ER. I have stitches everywhere.
Wow. See, and the thing is, people always say, the whole knock on wood, but I never even knocked on wood just to be safe, not to have to knock on wood. But I might have to find a piece of koa to knock on. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Laksh Shergill. Welcome to the show. Glad you're enjoying it. And if any of you out there want to tell a little brief story, I don't know how many characters the comments take, but I think there's a limit if you want to share your potentially embarrassing story about, having
or
it come
we'll
back
start a show thread on the
there you
DCC
go.
forum.
There you go.
And folks can add in their stories over there.
Yeah. So if you like our video content, please go check out our print content at community.f5.com. And with that, why don't we kick off the ironic opening to the first story, which is always
actually this is pre top 5. But good friend John Wagnon, former F5er, friend of the show. He sent me this over the weekend. If you've been watching with us for a long time, this beef that John and I had with each other when it comes to watermelon. And so he was very much team no salt, and I was team salt. And it was very big of you, John, to share this story because it violates your side of the argument. But the title of the article, which I couldn't agree more: if you're not salting your watermelon, apparently you're eating it the wrong way. So all y'all get out there, salt your watermelon, make it happen, because it is amazing.
Does this close chapter then? Is the feud squashed, or does it go on from here?
I think it should, John. I mean, weigh in the comments. Is this over? Are you going to start salting your watermelon, or are we going to have to go at this for years?
Keep the friendly feud alive. So today on Top 5, or actually this week, is NGINX Sprint. I think we can put you can register for NGINX Sprint. It runs today through Thursday, August 25th, nginx.com. I believe we'll post the link so you can register if you haven't already. But that's sort of the theme for today's top 5. So why don't we kick it off with
number 5.
That did not go as planned. Okay, so my first one is not NGINX Sprint. We do have a few in the top 5, but mine is actually from Aaron, and this is about a CVE, and it's not necessarily the CVE itself that is my favorite for this article of the month, but he's actually taking the CVE assignment to task. He's like, I don't really think this should be a CVE because this is kind of how the product is designed to work. And so he kind of goes through and in details, builds his case about how hop by hop headers are different than regular headers because, as you pass from client to server, you have all these intermediaries, whether it's a big IP or other reverse proxies in the path or, a forward proxy, whatever. And so the way the RFC establishes those to be treated is how the product works. And so, is it a potential that could be taken advantage of? Absolutely. However, that's not a patchy problem. That is if it comes back to it, it's an RFC problem, if it's a problem at all. If and as he addresses in here, if you build your application well, it's not a problem at all. And so anyway, read through it. It's a really good treatise on how to go through future-proof, some ways that you can handle that, especially, on big IP with an iRule, because iRules are amazing. How you can go and manage that in front of your application to provide some level of protection. Of course, the web application firewall also, if you have that available to you, can take care of those issues. But I loved the write-up that he did, and so that's my jam.
Yeah, Aaron's also got this past week's F5 certs this week in security. So folks want to check that one out too, with I believe an Apple notice or something. Oh, the recent update earlier this week. I believe that was it. Cool. Yeah, Aaron's always got some great content. The F5 security incident response team, and definitely the This Week in Security. And Aubrey, you guys do the This Month in Security with Aaron.
Yeah, that's right. And we're hoping to actually get the This Week in Security going via podcast as well once that gets going. But still a little ways to go on that one.
Well, good. What do we got next, Jason?
Number 4.
Oh.
Alrighty, so this is the one that I've raised, and this is a journey through NGINX and open source with Kelsey Hightower. For folks that probably everybody at this point knows who Kelsey Hightower is. If you haven't, he's a prolific developer advocate, and he's currently with Google. He's been there for a while at this point, but he's really well known in the industry. And one of the things that he's super well known for is being able to weave story with technology. And so you always look forward to a Kelsey presentation, and we've got one with NGINX Sprint tomorrow at 9:10 a.m. Pacific time. And he's going to talk through his experience with NGINX and how he can actually use it today. I've seen it like a short preview of what he put together, and it's a pretty interesting use case, being able to deploy applications out to the edge. So I think it's a cool presentation. I'm super looking forward to it. I can't believe that we got Kelsey Hightower for one of our conferences. So yeah, super excited to see that come about tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that too, because I've been using NGINX Unit for a while for some of my Python applications, and I don't remember what version it was. I think it was maybe in the last year and a half. They added async ability, so I could switch from Flask to Fast API and take advantage of the async ability with the Python side, with the NGINX Unit side. So I'm curious to see what he comes up with. But the other thing I love about Unit is it doesn't have to be like all Python or even all Python within one version. You could have several different versions of Python running within each of your applications, but then I could also throw a Perl app out there if you wanted to, and Java and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, maybe I'll hold off on Perl. Maybe Perl's not supported, but I know Java is, and Go and Python. They've got a lot of different languages that they support in that. But yeah, I love Unit. I'm really curious to see how how he tackles that and tells that story.
Yeah, maybe after that presentation, we can kind of dissect his use case on the show. I think that'd be fun too.
For sure.
I just got to say, your mention of Perl made me think, when I was a kid, I used to say this, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, with Perl, there's like 5 billion ways to skin every cat.
Yes. Yeah. So, Perl's one of those languages where 3 weeks later, you can't even read your own code. Like, wait, who wrote this? Oh, wait, it was me.
Yeah. 2 scripts that do the same thing. Neither one looks the same.
Yeah. I think that's as much as I slam on that, it's a maturity thing, right? Because languages mature over time, they build new features, and then the right way to do it today is different than the right way to do it 4 years ago, but they support all that because of backwards compatibility. And so, that becomes a problem. And, to be fair, as much as I love Python, it's becoming that way too. And it's like, hey, the Pythonic, one of the Pythonic, am I saying that right? That sounds weird.
Pythonic,
Pythonic things is, there should be one way to do things, but with the, advent of many releases, there's 1,000 ways to do things now. And nobody's really going to weigh in and say, this is the right way, except for those few of you, who you are on Stack Overflow, when you're down comments and down votes and all of that. So anyway, I digress.
Plus, Kelsey is one of those truly kind of, if there ever was one, kind of one of those technology influencers when it comes to, social media, and always has interesting takes and engaging with folks in a really cool way. Never seems to talk down to folks, always open to opinions and discussions, and really doesn't necessarily push his own company. In fact, he kind of highlights the industry as a whole and what's going on. So I've always liked that about him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're in the middle of the pack as we hit number
3.
Oh, I'm up. Cool. We thought I brought this up. I think Jason 2 months ago pulled it up. I had covered it last month, and while not necessarily NGINX Sprint related, like a couple others this time around, we really want to make sure that we feature our members, our community members from DevCentral. I know I've mentioned it before, like last month, we do a featured member article every month, getting into just some questions about where they're from and what interests them and why they're engaged in the community, and asking things like, what do you want? What did you want to be when you grew up? Or, instances where the community had helped them, not necessarily the DevCentral community, just, any community in general, how they sort of help each other. And I always like saying his name, ToFundMe, just because fun is in it. He's out of Africa. And so that kind of also highlights, oftentimes we'll highlight the MVPs, as we should, because they definitely contribute a lot to the community. But there's a lot of folks from around the world that make amazing contributions to DevCentral. Tofumi is the one we wanted to highlight this month out of Africa. He actually does some coding on himself. He's a security-focused engineer. He has his, if I remember correctly, the F5 certification 201, the one that I failed, the one that Jason passed. And he's going for his 301 pretty soon. But these articles are always fascinating to get a little insight into community members and what makes them tick. He also talks a bit about coffee in this article, but that's, I guess, your connection with NGINX Sprint, because the opening session today was talking about, I believe, how to brew a perfect pot of coffee. So there's the Sprint connection, even though it was around the corner and down the alley.
There we go.
Yeah,
Hey,
the 10-minute intro to NGINX Sprint, not just the mechanics of brewing, but ratios of your water to beans and all that stuff. So yeah, if you missed it, check out that intro.
Yeah, apparently there is a perfect temperature, water temperature for the perfect brew of coffee. I've done the cold brew before. We got one of not a cold brew machine, but where you just sort of seep into a canister, a decanter, and then sit it and put in the fridge, and that stuff is smooth. But if you ever have had heated up, so like regular coffee heat, cold brew, that's the best by far. What were you gonna say, Boo?
Yeah, so ToFundMe has stated that he is going for his 303 certification in the coming weeks. This article was published in the beginning of the month. So if you've gone for your test already, I hope you passed it. But if you haven't written it already, good luck.
Yeah.
And that 300's a bear.
He's been on fire the last few months. So definitely check out his profile and some of his answers. Or contributions, I should say.
Is written, like when you write a test, is that a strictly Canadian thing? Because there's another Canadian F5er when like years ago at an Agility, it was in DC, and we were talking and I was confused because he was saying, I'm going to write the test. It's like, what do you mean you're going to write the test? I mean, the test is written. And so he's like, it's like, take the test. So like here in the US is like, we say we take the test, not write a test. So it's like, to hear you say write a test made me think, is that strictly a Canadian issue? Or, a Canadian way to say things? Or
I haven't thought about that actually, but you are correct. But Aubrey's like almost half Canadian. So what does Aubrey say?
Oh, I take tests.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Maybe
that's
it's
interesting. I think I've heard an Australian say that too. Write a test.
My mom might write a test though. She was born in Montreal.
There you go.
All right.
Although she would have said that in French, perhaps.
Oh God, no.
No. So
No.
Montreal it's a double language city, because like when I was there,
Oh yeah,
everybody spoke French. I didn't hear any English.
Yeah. No, my mom was just born there, so they lived in Ontario where no one spoke French at the time. So
okay, very cool.
Sweet.
So yeah,
we're getting close. We got 2 more to go.
Number 2.
Why don't we drop that
Number 2.
Okay, well, I guess this one's me. Boy, this one's actually kind of close to my heart. The Adobe Commerce solution with distributed cloud. I wanted to highlight this one just because it's really a neat way to show how we're going forth with our partners now and integrating some of the services that we have in the distributed cloud as though they were native. Obviously we've got quite a bit of the reporting and things like that still in the distributed cloud, but the idea behind this Adobe Commerce solution is that we are essentially, we have a connector that is available in the Adobe Commerce portal. So when a customer wants to add bot defense, account protection, or authentication intelligence, they can simply just allow the plugin, which allows them to go to the distributed cloud and configure that. Now, of course, we don't have to configure the distributed cloud via the console. I mean, this could all be integrated into CI/CD pipeline or whatever for scaling solutions. But it could be controlled with an API rather than actually going to the console itself, which is also kind of neat. So if you're not familiar with these solutions, and it really does highlight some new stuff in the distributed cloud, the account protection and the authentication intelligence. I think that the fact that these services are out there right now really speaks volumes to the speed at which we are trying to build this solution out for our customers. So if you're looking for security, Adobe Commerce customer, definitely check out Ted Byerly's article. It's worth the time to investigate the solution.
Yeah, and he's put out we got a video on that too. on the DevCentral YouTube channel. And I think you were working on something too, Aubrey, weren't you?
Yeah. Boo and I have been talking about light boards with these guys for a bit. We'll see. There are a couple other solutions that the team that's kind of put this up are looking for. So, yeah,
still good stuff. But why don't we interrupt our regular programming here to make sure that we post this Tofume. So thanks, Michael, for the correction of us butchering our featured member's name for the month. We just did, he and I just did it over email, so we never actually spoke. I should have had him write it out this way. So Tofume is the proper
we'll need his
pronunciation.
Last name pronunciation too.
Yeah,
Michael, if you want to throw that in as well, we'd love to know that.
Oh, definitely.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We're winding down here with our final story of top 5.
Number 1.
All right, I guess this is me again. So, for people who are astute viewers, you'll probably say, "Hey, haven't you talked about Mara on the top 5?" And you would be correct. We did many months ago. But if you haven't registered for NGINX, again, go do it, because they're going to have a breakout session tomorrow or Thursday. I think it's tomorrow. Anyway, the agenda's out there, and make sure you tune in for Mara, because this is where they will break down the brass tacks of what a modern application looks like. And so this is a modern application reference architecture is what Mara stands for. And so they walk through design decisions, the pieces out of the very, very broad and diverse cloud native ecosystem, all the things that are out there, and they pick pieces for all the different parts of what makes a modern application, and then build justification behind why they do that. And so I don't know exactly if they'll get all into that. It looks like they're going to dive into open telemetry in the session, but also a pitch that we're going to have maybe a little bit longer of a session, maybe a little bit differently focused on a future DevCentral Connects. And so that will be amazing. Jason Schmidt, who's leading this breakout, along with Elijah Zupancic, he's going to join us on DevCentral Connect. So look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Again, final pitch, NGINX Sprint is going on like literally right now. I was watching the kickoff and the initial keynote right before we dropped to come do this, and so I'm back there as soon as we wrap this show. Join me over there. It's going to be great.
Yep.
Cool.
Running through Thursday. Hey, Boo, one of the things I noticed over the past week is you interviewed our CTO, Gang Lin. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and check it out on the Octo channel?
Yeah, so we have, I guess, a sister YouTube channel or a friend of our YouTube channel called the F5 Office of the CTO, or F5 Octo YouTube channel, and they've got some videos going on there. They're more of our think tank and thought leadership group, some really smart people on there, and they're led by Gang Lin, who is our Chief Technology Officer, and they recently wrote a book on enterprise architecture for digital business, and it really is rooted in architectures, or how architectures were kind of given frameworks before, needs to evolve with how applications look today and how businesses look today. And so Gang's gone through that with a couple companies at this point, and there's a host of folks within the office of the CTO group that have been part of that as well. And so they got together and they wrote a book, and I did a little bit of a recap or an overview with Gang as a part 1 to a series of interviews with the different authors. And so that can be found over on the F5 Office of the CTO YouTube channel. So you'll see me on there talking to our CTO, Gang Lin.
Yeah, one moment. I actually went over there to grab the link.
We can throw that into the show thread as well.
Yep. And I just shared it, so hopefully you guys can check that out. That'll do it this week and this month for DevCentral Connects Top 5. We always enjoy sharing our favorites with you every month, don't we, fellas? Don't we? We do.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Absolutely.
We love the show. It's always fun. And so if you like this kind of content, check us out, leave a like, drop a subscribe, even hit that notification bell because it really does help the channel tremendously. And if you're not familiar with community.f5.com, that's where we kind of hang out on a daily basis. Even over the weekends, you might find us on there. Ask your questions, submit your articles, and all that fun stuff. So with that, thanks a lot, fellas. Another fun show with the full crew. Oh, one more thing. Check out last week, Boo, Aubrey, and I were in Vegas for Black Hat USA 2022, and we got some amazing content from a ton of F5ers and a whole slew of partners. So you'll want to definitely check out that playlist. And with that, for Jason, for Aubrey, for Boo, I'm Peter, and we're with F5 Dev Central. Thanks for watching.
Well, the key is to mitigate in a way that the actor behind the automation isn't aware they're being mitigated. So you can't just drop the session because that gives the person immediate feedback they're being mitigated. So you want to give that person the same experience that a non-attacker would experience. So in a credential stuffing attack, you want to give the bot just a simple failed login attempt. The same one that they would receive if they entered in the incorrect username and password. That way they don't know they're being mitigated until they, of course, start using canary accounts. And when you give them a login failure for a canary account, that's when they know they're being mitigated. But the key is you don't want to do it in a way that immediately reveals that they're being mitigated. You want to postpone that as long as possible.